Hey everybody, so I know it's been a while since the last time I've uploaded, but I decided with tomorrow being the day that the Power of the Doctors officially airs, and we'll get to see Jodie's official regeneration, I wanted to do a list on my personal ranking of the regeneration scenes. I say scenes, I'm not referring to the stories themselves. I'm talking about the actual scene where you see one doctor die and regenerate into the next doctor. So this is my top 13 doctor regeneration scenes. I will wait for the Power of the Doctor to come out to make a regeneration story episode. So, with that being said, here we go. Okay, coming in at number 13. The 6th Doctor to 7th Doctor. Now, I love both the 7th and the 6th Doctors, but my big problem with this scene is just Sylvester McCoy in a wig. Granted, I do know what happened at the time, and why Colin Baker wouldn't want to come back and film his regeneration scene. The guy had just been fired from a show he had loved doing and had wanted to do it so badly. So, in all fairness, I give it to Colin Baker. I wouldn't want to film a regeneration scene either if I had just been fired before having to be forced to commit to a harsh filming date. Anyways, that's why the 6th to 7th Doctor regeneration scenes is this low on the list. Next one. The War Doctor to number 11. The War Doctor to the 9th Doctor. Now, again, I absolutely adore the War Doctor. If John Hurt hadn't tragically passed when he did, I'm sure that they would have at least brought him back for some other adventures on Big Finish, audio stuff like that. I don't know. But the reason why it's this low on the list, we don't fully see Eccleston form. We see him start to shape into Eccleston, but we don't fully see, Nine appear. Which I get why, because Eccleston refused to come back for the anniversary special. But, so, I understand that. But, for that reason, the fact that we don't get to see, the full Eccleston, because they would have probably had to have paid him to, to use his likeness, and they didn't want to do that. But, nonetheless, the War Doctor, he had a good run for the one episode he appeared on. But other than that, there's nothing really much left for me to say about this regeneration scene. Now, the next one might be a little controversial. Because number 11, the 2nd Doctor into question mark. I say question mark because originally, if you watch the actual scene itself, you don't see him turn into. You don't see McCoy. You don't see Patrick Troughton turn into John Pertwee, because at the time Pertwee hadn't been cast when they filmed it. So that's why you don't see him. I get that's why, but the fact that that we don't get to see who he regenerates into is why I put it this low. And I don't want to bring up the Timeless Child, but it does bring in a good bit. It does bring a big good possibility that for the 2B head theory, and for the 26B theory or whatever that theory's called, that Troughton regenerated into the Joe Martin Doctor. Not saying I believe that, but considering the way they end it, and people have been trying to figure out where where the fugitive doctor fits in the timeline. That's where I think fits. Because we don't see the amount of time that passes between Patrick Troughton and Pertwee. So who's to say that as a part of her penance, the fugitive doctor wasn't forced to to work for the division, and then she'd still be in exile. When she regenerates into Pertwee. That's at least my theory on it. But I'm not talking about the Timeless Child. I'm talking about the regeneration scenes. Sorry to go off on a tangent. So, back to the topic. Okay, number 10. This is gonna be a sorry. This is gonna be got a little cool allergy stuff going on. But number 10. Now, this is going to be a little controversial because I particularly love the Doctor that regenerates here, but there's a reason I put it this low on the list. And that regeneration scene is the 11th to 12th Doctor. And before you all put hate comments on this video, I want to say it's because, I loved the speech that Matt gives, but he regenerates into a sneeze. Like, he literally goes, and then, straight into eyebrows. That's what I call 12. But, anyways, no, sorry about that, minor interruption. But, anyways, yeah, he regenerates into a sneeze. And that's pretty much, that's all I need to say, really. I loved the 11th Doctor, but they did him dirty with the choice of how to do that regen scene. Anyways, next. The 7th to 8th Doctor. Now, I give a special place for this scene because, yes, it ties in the old era of the show with the false start of what eventually became the 2005 reboot. But the context of the story is the 7th Doctor is shot stepping out of the TARDIS, and after a botched operation is what triggers the regeneration scene with the regeneration. Now, the scene itself is very bad CGI. I get that's what they had at the time, but I feel like they could have done, better with what it was. And I'll do a separate video later on talking about Paul McGann's Doctor, because I do enjoy the McGann movie and the short before the 50th. I just kind of wish he got more of a television appearance. But that's just me. Anyways, next up on the list. Number 8. The 4th to 5th Doctor. Now, I have mixed opinions on Logopolis, but the scene itself, there's a line during The Doctor Falls when the John Sims master goes, well, we know you fall. When Missy goes, no, it wasn't John Sims master, it was Missy. When she goes, we all know you've fallen. And in fact, the two, Tom Baker and Patrick Troughton both, during the, no, not Patrick Troughton, John Pertwee, sorry. There's so many doctors, I get the names mixed up sometimes. But there are multiple times in the show where the Doctor, that's twice during the early run, when during the regeneration scene, fall. And then, but still, the scene itself, I like the touching sentiment of the Watcher. He was the Doctor all the time. And then, it's the end. The moment is prepared for. The Watcher comes in walks into the body of Tom Baker, he changes and comes up Peter Davison. But yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. Alright, next. Alright. The 5th to 6th Doctor. Now, I liked the case of Indrazani. In fact, I have it muted, but it's on and currently in the background. I'm watching the Pluto TV Doctor Who channel, and I'm currently playing the case of Indrazani. I'd show you, but I don't want to get a copyright strike. But yeah, Peter Davison's Regeneration speech is the first one to show the... Actually, no, it wasn't. It was the second to show the former companions all showing up to bid the Doctor farewell. The 4th Doctor is the one that did it first, because, the whole Doctor, that whole bit. And then 12's Regeneration scene pays homage to it later on. But the 5th Doctor, it does it in a way that, plays in, that hides the change between the faces. And it's a very clever way they do it. But, I feel like the way it's a good way to not only send off the Doctor, but also to bring in a new one. Because when Colin Baker sits up at the end, and Perry goes, and Nicola Bryan, as Perry goes, "What's happened?" Colin goes, "Change, my dear. And it seems not a moment too soon." And then it's backed up in the case of Indrazani. And not a case of Indrazani, the Twin Dilemma. But, yeah, that's all. That's why Davison's Regeneration is where it is. Alright, next. The 8th Doctor to the Ward Doctor. Now, I mentioned the 50th anniversary short when talking about the 7th to 8th Doctor's Regeneration. But now, I fully enjoyed the Sisterhood of Khan appearance, and I watched the short after I had watched the 50th anniversary, but before I had seen the Sisterhood of Khan episode of the classic era. And I feel like the Sisterhood of Khan is a great way to tie in the McCoy, the Big Adventures episodes, they talk, as well as the Time War, because we needed to see how 8 regenerated, because I would have before the Ward Doctor was introduced assumed somehow he ended up going into Eccleston. But other than that, but now we see that's what happened. That's all I really have to say about that. Okay, next. Alright, next. The 9th Doctor to 10th Doctor. Now, I'm going to preface, I enjoyed most of Eccleston's run. He and Tennant were probably my favorite 2 of the original classic, of the now early era of the New Who series. And I get why Eccleston left, but all I really have to say about the Regeneration scene is it was fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And you know what? So was I. Sorry, I have to. Every time I talk about the scene, I have to quote it. I have to quote it. Alright, next. Okay, so this is a little bit of a nudge. Okay, because I'm using the Twice Upon a Time version of the Regeneration scene than I am the actual scene itself, because there's not much left of the original scene. And that's the 1st Doctor to 2nd Doctor. Now, I haven't seen much of the 10th Planet, which was the original Regen episode for the 1st Doctor, but I feel like this ties it in neatly to what the original footage was. So, for that reason, that's why the first Doctor Regeneration scene is where it is. Okay, number 3. The third to fourth Doctor. Like I mentioned before, the third Doctor, the third Doctor is one of my favorites of the classic era. Like, I thoroughly enjoy Pertwee as the Doctor. Like, you can tell during his entire performance how much he loved being the third Doctor. And I feel like the speech he gives to Sarah Jane Smith. A tear, Sarah Jane? No, don't cry. Why, there's life. Like, you could tell he was more worried about his companion, and thus why she continues to travel with him when he becomes 4. And then North Choji or Kemperl in Pache, bring it, is the one that triggers the Regeneration scene. And it's a good callback. But that's all I really have to say about that. That story. But again, I'll talk about the stories once Power of the Doctor comes out, but I'm talking about the scene itself. And it's another one where the Doctor just lays on their back, eyes asleep, dead. And then, from Pertwee to Baker. Number 2. The 10th Doctor to 11th Doctor. Now, I felt like this, the pure, heartbreak in David's face when David Tennant says, I don't want to go. And then, his hand starts glowing. It does the whole, that bit. And then, David made it look like it physically pained him to leave. When he's going. And then, when the thing finally happens. And then, you can tell it's even more painful for when Smith came in. And, the whole legs! I still got legs bit when Matt Smith's intro came in. And then, really, that's all there really is to say about it. I'll talk. I'm gonna do another list of the intro episodes when we see when the 60th anniversary is over, and then we finally get to see the first adventure of Ncuti, which I'm going to assume Ncuti will be part of the 60th. I'm hoping. But that's hearsay. Anyways, number 1. If you know the Regeneration episodes, you know the one. The Generations, you know what's left. Number 1, the 12th to 13th Doctor. Now, okay, I want to preface this by saying I was not particularly fond of the 12th Doctor during his first 2 seasons. Don't get me wrong, I liked the 12th Doctor during most of his stories, but I didn't see him as the Doctor, personally, until his 3rd season. And Twice Upon a Time has already been mentioned once on this list, because the first Doctor Regeneration scene, but I feel the speech Peter Capaldi gives during his Regeneration scene is something I'll remember forever. Mainly because always try to be nice, never fail to be kind. Love is always foolish. Hate is always foolish. Love is always wise. Laugh hard, run fast, be kind. Doctor, I let you go. Whoosh! And the whole regeneration bit. So yes, for that reason, the Phantom's reaction to Jodie is just awful. Like, I'm just gonna say this now, because this should be up before Power of the Doctor comes out tomorrow. That's why I'm filming it in advance. But I want to say something to you. Don't blame Jodie for Chibnall's subpar writing. She did the best with what she did an amazing job with what she was given. Meanwhile, I say that the Flux was Chibnall's highlight, but that's for another video. For this one, it's already at 20 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and end it here. Okay, so this episode should be up before The Power of the Doctor comes out tomorrow. So, you guys will see me tomorrow when I review The Power of the Doctor. So until then, always try to be nice. Never fail to be kind. And laugh hard. Run fast. Be kind. YouTube audience, I let you go. Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Joshua YouTube channel. Sorry, I was just watching a video of that. Anyways, don't forget to click below and subscribe and comment what your guys' opinions are on the Regeneration scenes. What is your favorite? Was I wrong about my ranking? Tell me what you guys think. And I will see you guys tomorrow for when I review Power of the Doctor. Thank you guys so much. You have been absolutely fantastic. And I let you go. Bye.